Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. This is Sumant, and in this video we'll discuss how to execute only specific tests when you trigger the entire Mocha test suite execution. Let's say if I run this test and I only want to run this particular describe or only this particular it, how to do it. So we will discuss about it in this video. Now there are multiple ways of doing it. We will discuss about each and every possible way, one after the other. For understanding this, right, I have created two test files, test1.js and test2.js. So they're pretty simple and straightforward. So we have a describe here and a nested describe, which contains two test cases. So I've named them with a proper, sequence. So this describe contains 5 tests, and the other describe in the same file contains 2 tests. And this describe contains 5 tests again. Other describe contains 2 tests. So total we have 14 tests in both these suites. Now, if I want to run only this particular describe, right? I can say describe dot only. So I can add dot only at the end. Now, what this does is this will skip this describe. So this describe won't be executed, and only this describe will be executed when you run this test suite. Now let's try running it. We'll say Mocha test. Test is a place where both these test files are present. Let me click enter. So now if you look at it, right? So it has executed only this describe. It didn't execute the other describe here and also the other test file too. So it only executed this one describe, and this describe has 5 tests. So all these 5 tests are executed. Now let's say I want to execute only the nested describe. So I can add it here and then say run. Now only these 2 tests are executed, even though I have multiple files and multiple describes in each files, only these tests are executed. Now let me clear my console. Now similarly, if you want to execute only one test case in it, I can say it dot only. So if you look at it, only one test case is executed, and that too the test case 4. Now we can add this to multiple tests. Let me copy it to the another test here and one more test in this file. So we have it dot only for test case 10, test case 4, and test case 1. So if I run this now, so test case 1 is executed and then test case 10 is executed. So this will not be part of our execution. If we want to run that, we have to remove the only method in the outer it. So let me run the test again. Now test case 4 and then test case 10 here are executed. Now this is one way of executing only specific tests in Mocha. Now there is another thing which is called dot skip. Let's say I've removed dot only. Yeah, I'll remove it here as well. Now I have added dot skip to this describe, which means that this describe will be skipped from the execution. Let me clear my console and run. So if you look at it, test case 8 and test case 9 are marked as pending. So they are not marked as failed, they are marked as pending. In only case, right, they are not even marked as pending test. They are just ignored from the execution. But in skip case, these tests are marked as pending. Now, if I want to skip one more test, right, I can add here, even in the outer block. So now in this particular describe, right, the inner describe will be excluded from the execution. Even in the outer describe, only these 2 tests will be executed and this will be excluded from execution. So now we should get 3 pending tests. See, we got 3 pending tests. And what are those tests? Test case 12, this one, test case 8 and 9. These are the pending tests. Now let's look at one more way of skipping a test, which is using X before a test. If we add an X before a test, right, even this will be marked as skip. So I've added X before test case 8 and test 11. Let me run this. See, test case 8 and test case 11 are marked as pending. So that is the use of X. So you can use X before your it, or you can use it dot skip method to skip a test case. But both these things, right, they will mark your test case as pending. They will not remove this or exclude this from your execution. Mocha will include these tests in execution, but they will be marked as pending tests, and the code inside these tests won't be executed. Now there is one more way of making or marking a test case as pending, so which is removing the callback function. So if I remove this callback function and just declare it with a name, right? What does this mean is we have created a test case, but we didn't implement it yet. So this test case will be marked as pending. Now, why do we do things like this? Is we create test cases now, and every time the execution is triggered, right? We will be alerted that there are some unimplemented test cases in your test suite, and you have to go and implement it. That is the main advantage of this. You don't lose track of these test cases which are not implemented. So that's why you just declare a test case. Let me run it. If you look at it, right, there are two test cases, both 8 and 9 are marked as pending. So I didn't use like it dot skip or exit to mark it as pending. I just didn't uh, send a callback function which marked this test case as pending. This is the another way of skipping a test execution, or you can say this is the other way of marking a test case as pending. Now let me add this callback function back. Now let's see one more approach of skipping a test case from execution. Now this time what we will do is we will use a method called skip, which we didn't had, which we won't call with it, but we will call it separately in the execution block. So inside this callback function, right, we can call a function called this dot skip. Now this will skip this particular test execution. If you can look at this statement as well, it is grayed out now. Now let me add this to test case 3 as well. Let me run the suite again. So these two tests are marked as pending, test case 1 and test case 3. Yeah, they are marked as pending. Let me clear this console. This dot skip is the most commonly used or preferred way of skipping a test case, because we will use this dot script when a particular condition is failed. Let's say check for data creation. So there is this flag. So if this is true, then execute your test case. And if this is not true, right, just skip this test case. When the predict data is not present, right, there is no point in executing everything inside your test case. So in that particular point of time, right, we will use this start skip inside your test case. So based on the condition, this will either execute your test case or skip your test case from execution. Now let me mark it to true first and run Mocha test. So all these tests are executed. So we have this start skip present at the without any condition here. That's why this is skipped. So this particular test case is executed now. Now let me move it to false, and let me run my tests again. Now there are two pending tests. So even this test case is marked as pending. Now this is how we use this dot skip. Now typically what we do is we will add this precondition in before each hook or before hook, so that we will know whether the test case should be executed or not. So let me do it before each function. Let me remove this dot before each, and then I'll add this precondition here. So now this before each is valid for all the test cases, all the 5 test cases inside this describe. These 2 in the nested describe and these 3 in the actual describe. Now as this particular flag is false, now this should skip each and every test case execution in this particular describe. Let me run it. So if you look at this, all my 5 test cases are skipped from execution and marked as pending. So these are the 5 test cases. Now if I place this now instead of before each, right, let me create a before hook, which I'll place it as outside the describe. And then add this flag here. Now I have declared this before hook outside the describe, meaning this before will be applicable not only for this particular test, it is also applicable for the other tests as well. Just because we are skipping the execution if this check is false, right? Which means when this predict data condition is false, script the entire execution. Let me show you. So if you look at it, all my 14 test cases are marked as pending. None of them are executed. This is because we are skipping the test execution based on a condition here. This is very useful when you are working on some UI automation, or when your test case execution is depending on some deployment. And if the deployment application is opened properly only, then you should execute these test cases. If not, these, even though if you executed these test cases, these will fail. In those scenarios, right, you will add this check in the before hook, and if that condition is false, now we will skip the entire execution. So in those cases, this will be used. This is how you can skip a test case or test suite or multiple test suites in Mocha. I hope this video is informative. Thanks for watching. If you find this information helpful, please do like and share this video, and also subscribe to my channel. See you in the next lecture. Thanks for watching.